the cake right to the sight sex. Leave the fire and the roof style stuff. On the grind like we're chasing the stars. From Millmore to Do Valley, we've come so far. Talk about legends, yeah, we know the score. Ronnie, I'm Bobby, we remember you more. From the highs of the Wembley fight to losing our trousers, still we ignite. Red and white with the pride, we're never gonna bow. Fighting like Miller men, hear the roar now. We're Miller men, we stand up tall. Through ups and downs, we give it all. From Millmore to Do Valley.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Millers Monday here on KB Terrace Talk. As you can see, this is a first for us on the podcasts. I am on my own. Yes, that's right. I am hosting, and I am also the guest to my own podcast. We didn't want to let you guys down. Obviously, we are still in the holiday season, and a lot of people are on holiday and they can't join. And the reason why Lee's not here is because it's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Lee! I did call him 50 years old earlier, and he weren't too pleased. So I'm not calling that again. Yeah, happy birthday to Mr. Bush, and once again, thank you for launching this podcast. Right then, what we're going to talk about? Well, we're here to discuss Rotherham United. Unfortunately, is obviously there's a lot that's happened between Thursday's podcast and then today. Before I get into the Rotherham side of things, and just make sure you are, putting chats up, because I think the longer, the more chats that go up, the longer this will be. I'm going to try and get to an hour, but you may find that this podcast is maybe a little bit shorter than the average podcast times, because obviously I'm on my own, and it all depends on what we get in the chat, really. So make sure anyone who's watching, you do put in the chat any questions, anything that you've seen, any rumours, any questions regarding Rotherham United, anything to do with England, anything to do with Kevin Keegan. Obviously, Kevin Keegan has unfortunately passed away today, 75 years young. I think around January time he got told that he had cancer, and I think it was quite a late stage and he couldn't recover. So he's lasted 7 months, and unfortunately he's passed away at some point today. So legend Kevin Keegan obviously didn't do very well for England, but as a football player he was a brilliant talent, as far as I'm aware. A bit too young to watch him play, but I've heard how good he was from my dad's friends, etc. And I think he did win a couple of Ballon d'Ors. They weren't called Ballon d'Ors at the time, but he did win a couple of, if you like, World Player of the Year, or whatever it was called. So let's just quickly, I just quickly want to touch on the World Cup. Obviously, England lost to Argentina. England then beat France in the third playoff game 6-4. And then Spain beat Argentina 1-0 after extra time in the World Cup final. So I'll start with England. It is incredible, really, isn't it, that obviously England lost to Argentina, having took the lead, and then tried to defend literally for the next, 60 minutes, whatever it was, or 34 minutes, whatever it were. And obviously Argentina just kept building the pressure up, and it kept getting more and more and more, and it was only a matter of time really for Argentina to score, and they did. England, with no pressure on them, play a game that doesn't really mean anything, and they just attack from minute one. And to be fair to France, so did France, and that's why you got a brilliant scoreline in 6-4. And it is a shame, because I think if England had played like that in the semi-final, then I think they'd have gone through. I really do. Whether they'd have beaten Spain or not, I'm not really sure. But they definitely would have beaten Argentina if they'd played like that. So a little bit of a shame, to be honest with you. I'm glad that England came third. I didn't watch the game. I watched a bit of the game, not a lot. So you've got to say fair play at least to two. So I think that's England's best position, or best finish, in a World Cup. since they won the World Cup in '66. I think they finished fourth under Southgate, as opposed to third. And I think they must have finished fourth as well in 1990. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Someone can just fact check that for me. And obviously, I know they lost in the semi-final to Germany, but I'm not sure how the third playoff place went, to be honest. So if someone could just check that, that'd be great. And Argentina and Spain, let's face it, if you're not an Argentina fan, you are supporting Spain. The way Argentina conducted themselves from, if you like, minute one right through to the end of the game, and then even after the game, was just disgusting, really. I think Lee has kind of he's talked a lot on his little video that he's done over the last couple of days. I think he's done a couple of videos, to be fair. And to be fair, actually, I think that the way Argentina did go about things, they probably deserved the loss. I mean, I think they not had a shot at goal until the 107th minute, I think it was. I did look at I looked at the stats after about 80 minutes, and literally Argentina had a 0.0 XG. They also had, I think they'd had no shots on target, not even a block shot or anything. Disgusting, really, from Argentina. And let's face it, end of the day, they got what they deserve. It's only a matter of time before Spain scored. And it does make you laugh, doesn't it, that Enzo Fernandez obviously taking the mick out of English fans after beating England. And obviously Argentina had that flag up, and he obviously gets sent off, and he costs his nation the game, you could say. So, sometimes you should win with a bit of grace. And I think that's proof in the pudding. If you don't win with a bit of grace, then you probably aren't going to win going forward. And that's what happened with Argentina, and that's why they lost. And fair play to Spain. Spain were obviously the best side in the competition and fully deserved it, to be fair. So, that's enough of the World Cup. Like I said, I just thought I'd sum up on the World Cup, just like 10 minutes or so. Let's move on to Rotherham. Right, we'll start with the comments. So, Peter Scott, good luck to that. Sorry I couldn't make it. I'll be back on Thursday. We need non-base sale to fund players. It's ridiculous. And I will just talk about that just a little bit. So Pete, thank you. To be fair to Pete, Pete is actually on holiday, and he nearly came on the podcast tonight, even though he's actually in France, and that is exceptional, to be fair, from Pete. So, in all seriousness, we shouldn't really be. I don't want to get people on who's on holiday, to be fair. So I don't blame Pete for not coming on tonight, to be fair. And I'll see you Thursday, no problem. Right. So Nombe, now apparently, I don't know if it's in the Advertiser, but obviously there's an article going around which has kind of said that it was it's been mentioned by someone in our group, actually. So someone in our group went to the game at Matlock on Saturday, and he was speaking to one of the coaching staff, I believe, and the coaching staff basically told him that we have to sell Nombe before we can bring players in. And that's where the rumours kind of come from. And that's where the rumour KB Terrace Talk have got their rumour from. And that's why they've put it out there on social media. And if that is the case, look, I'm not going to sit here and say 100% that is the case. For all I know, it could have been a bit of miscommunication between, as part of that conversation, it could have been a bit missed. I don't know. But if that is the case, it is absolutely ridiculous. If we didn't sell Nombe, what we're saying? We're saying that if we didn't sell Nombe, we wouldn't have brought any players in at all. Is that what we're saying? We're not even going to get a lot of money for Nombe. It's going to be £1 million at most. And £1 million don't really get you a lot of players these days. So, it's absolutely embarrassing. And if that is where the club's at now, then we are in trouble. And I was looking today, actually. Obviously, if you go back a month, Rotherham were favourites to win League Two. I think they're actually clear favourites the first time I looked at it. I can't remember who were second favourites, but about a week later, Rotherham had gone from clear favourites to joint favourites, and I think it was Barnet, actually. I think it was Barnet for some reason. They were joint favourites for Rotherham to win the league. I'm not really sure why. I don't know if Barnet set a lot of money or what have you. Anyway, we're now about 6-7 weeks later, and I looked at the odds just before I came on, and Rotherham have dropped to 8 favourites now. You've got Chesterfield above them, you've got Salford above them, you've got Barnet still above them. I can't remember who else were above. York are above them, I think. And it's ridiculous. The fact that Rotherham have dropped from 1st to 8th in the space of like a 5-week, 6-week period is just absolutely embarrassing. And I have to say, I went to the Emily game, which was just under a week ago. Sorry, but I didn't want to go Saturday purely because it's just not fun. Like, I know we had a little bit more of the first team out, but when I went to the Emily game, it was literally just two teams of youngsters with the odd first teamer thrown in. And even, that's even classing players like Douglas as a first team as well. And to me, he's probably on the fringes, if you like, of being a first team player. He's still part of the squad, but he's on the fringes. So, at the minute, we're not looking good. And if you look at the odds, we have dropped significantly. And I can see it's continuing to drop. We've only got about 3 weeks, I think, until we play West Bromwich Albion. And then obviously it's another week until the league starts. And we desperately need something to happen in this this week. And I said it before and I'll say it again. We need to have a day where we bring in at least 5 players in one day. That's what I think we need. Right. Ben Woodcock, good evening. How are we? Ben, I'm good. How are you, sir? Hope you're well, Ben, and thank you for joining. Russ, RFC Baylor. We lost Italy in 1990, 3rd, 4th place. Right, okay. Thanks for just confirming that, Russ. I didn't know. It's funny, I did actually have as a youngster. So I was born in 84, so I would have been 6 when the World Cup was on. And I remember I got given like a World Cup book or a 1990 World Cup book. And I remember just reading it over and over again, and it had like pictures or like graphical pictures of like how every goal went in. So really I should have known that, because as I said, I almost, because it was the only football book at the time, I kept rereading it and kept looking at the pictures and what have you. So I should have probably known that. But Ross, thanks for clearing that up. Danny, in 1990, Italy 2, England 1, Platt equalised after Baggio goal, but late transfer won in 86th minute. And again, thanks, Danny, just to confirm it along with Russ. It doesn't really matter, does it? The 3rd place playoff, I guess. But I suppose it's good that England have won 1. They've won 1 out of 3 now, so I suppose that's probably a positive. I'd rather win the game than not win the game. So Danny, thanks for that. Russ, 2-1 day for our score. Again, thanks Russ, thanks Danny for them. Edward Broomhead, evening everyone, getting ridiculous. Evening everyone, it's getting ridiculous now, isn't it? Edward, I assume you're referring to just Rotherham in general. It is, mate. It is getting ridiculous, and there's not a lot that we can say at the minute. We kind of find that every time we do like a podcast or every time we have a conversation about Rotherham United, it just tends to be repeated, and we tend to repeat a lot of points. Normally I sit here and I try and look at the issue and I try and see what Rotherham can do to get out of it. But because the club is on such a decline, I've almost lost a bit of interest in the football club. And it's the first time for me where, like, if you go back like 10 years, when we went into the summer, even if there were a World Cup on, I actually wouldn't like the summer because, I'd seen all our interest in watching Rotherham and that were it. So even if the World Cup were on, I still would hate the summer. I'd enjoy the World Cup, but I'd hate the summer, and I hate pre-season. I won't be able to wait until the season restarted and you had that first league game. This year around is the first time I can probably think of in a long time where I'm actually not looking forward to the season at all. I'm almost dreading it. I sit here still on the 20th of July 2026 thinking that we won't go down. I think we've even if you put the squad we've got out now, I think we'd be okay. I don't think we'd be anywhere near the top, but I think we'd be okay in the league. And I do expect the squad to be strengthened significantly between now and I think it's the 14th of August when the first league game is. So I don't think we'll go down. But at this minute, I can see Rotherham finishing in the bottom half as it stands. And it doesn't matter if they bring in 10 quality players. They've all got to gel. I do think we're going to have not a great start. We've got quite difficult fixtures. Obviously, you've got York in there, Chesterfield, and these are games where I think if we'd have played them later on when the players have kind of gelled together, we'd probably win or got a chance winning. But with them being at the start of the season, I do worry that we'll end up starting off really poor and we'll end up starting off near the bottom. So yeah, it is ridiculous, Edward. I do agree with you, and where do we go from here? I mean, the issue obviously does sit with the chairman. It has to sit with the chairman, and I just don't know what do we do. I mean, I'd love to do some sort of protest, but I don't think we'd get enough Rotherham fans to do it. You'd need hundreds really, and I just don't think we'd get that. I think you've got a lot of fans out there who they don't see the dangers, they don't see the issues. They think that Rotherham will just bring in the quality and they'll be all right. So yeah, I don't really know where we go from here. What would you do, Edward? Like, what would you like to see happen? Russ, bring on the KB Terrace Talk, lads. Love it. Yeah, Russ. Yeah, no worries. We'll always try and do a podcast, as I said. Even if it's just myself on my own, I'll still try and get a podcast out. Don't just remember, it might not be as long as normal, but at least you've got a podcast out there. Romoff, Romoff, hope you're doing well. We are not very good. It's sad. I think it is. As I said, I don't really know where we go from here. I'd love to see some sort, as I've already mentioned, I'd love to see some form of fans having a go at the board and doing some sort of protest outside the ground. But I just think that it'd get organised and you'd have 20 people there. So the person who organises it is going to take a chance, because that person would be embarrassed if they turn up with just 20 people there. So yeah, what would you do? What do you want to see happen, Rome? Of to be fair to the chairman, he has brought in Steve McLaren. And if you ask any Rotherham fan if that's a good appointment, I think 90% of Rotherham fans would say it is. But even with Steve McLaren, we're still not really attracting players because we've only brought in 3-4 players already, and we needed about 15. So that means we still need at least 10 new players. So yeah, it doesn't look great. Let's see what happens this week at least. Let's hope we get some players in this week. Ben Woodcock's Feyenoord deserve champions. Yeah, I agree, Ben. That's what I said at the start of the podcast. I think they were probably the best team in the whole tournament. I think if England had got there, they'd have probably lost to Spain anyway. So yeah, deserve champions. King Bush, happy birthday, Lee. It is Lee's birthday, as already mentioned. Hey, up there's fuming with business so far. Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. Whether you like the new signings or not, it's nowhere near enough. And I guess to your point, Lee, as well, I said that the Mane signing I thought was a decent signing. I still do think it's a decent signing, but it's all right having decent signings. You need another 10. And sometimes there are reasons for delaying transfers. And I'll be honest, you do this on Football Manager, where a player, for example, gets released by a club. Let's say a championship player gets released by a club, and he's on a free transfer. And the first week of him being released, he'll probably have 5-10 clubs that are interested. And of those 10 clubs, you might have, for argument's sake, 3 Championship, 4 League One, and then the rest, I think 3, I said, so 3 in League Two. Now, he's going to dismiss the League Two club straight away because he's going to think, I'm good enough for the Championship. So he's cut himself down to 3 Championship clubs and then maybe 1 or 2 of the League One clubs, depending on who they are. I imagine he'd go for bigger clubs. And the thing is, if he hasn't signed for a club within like 6 weeks, and then all of a sudden the interest goes, he then becomes interested in like a League Two club. And that potentially could be a reason why Rotherham are being patient over signings. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just trying to think why we've not brought in, up to 10 players so far. We should be now at a position where we've signed 10 players and we need 3, 4, maybe 5 more, and we get them in the next 3 weeks. That's the position we should be in, but obviously we're not. So I'm just trying to think is there a reason why we are being patient? You know, for example, maybe Dan Gore wasn't interested at the start of the window. He's obviously he's been in the Man United squad. He's been playing in some of their friendly games. Maybe in 3 weeks' time he becomes available. We don't know. Now, we'll not sign Dan Gore. It's a bad example, really, from me, because we won't sign Dan Gore. But I'm trying to use it as an example to try and figure out what the club are doing. So there is potential in that. Maybe we are waiting for quality players to come available so we can bring them in. Now, if we turn up, if we carry on signing the same players we have signed, then that's completely wrong. Because although I like Aaron Nemane, I'm not a big fan of the Vertonghen Tavares. I quite like the Walsall kid, Jamie Gillis, because I think he was a player who was a top League 2 player the last couple of seasons, and I think he's the sort of player I think you'll need in your squad in order to win promotion from this league. You know, I know Walsall did bottle it in that season 2 years ago, but I think it was more to the fact that they lost a good 5 or 6 players in January. A couple got injured, a couple went back to their loan clubs and re-sent out. So yeah, I actually think the Jamie Gillis sign is not a bad signing. But as Lee said, I think Lee or the King, he was expecting us to sign top quality League 2 players and potentially League 1 quality players. So maybe that's something we do. And if we do that, then I'd say fine. Patience has been worth it. But if we continue to sign the players that we are signing now in the next few weeks, then yeah, it could go horribly wrong, unfortunately. Romo, we ain't even got any rumours today. Said about we know we shop in the PFA team with looks of it. Yeah. You're right, Romo. There are all any rumours at all now. One thing I would say is, from a club's point of view, that's probably good from them, because every signing we've kind of made this season, albeit 3 signs, 4 signs, whatever it is, I don't think we've known too much about him until they sign, or literally until the day of the signature. So in one way, it's kind of good from the football club that they are keeping it under wraps. The only issue is maybe there's no rumours because we're not close to sign anyone. And I think that's what people are worried about. And it does seem like that's the case because, you know, we signed Jamie Gillis, I think, you know, a couple of weeks ago. We had all last week. I don't think we signed anyone last week. And we're into this week now on a Monday, and no signs have been made today. As I said, we need a day where we do sign 5, 6 players all on one day. Otherwise, we are struggling. And yeah, just with regards to talking at PFA team, I mean, some of these tries that we've got, I mean, it does worry me. I'm not going to lie. Tom Lees on trial, very, very old player. We all agree we need experience, but this kid's like 35, 36. We don't need a player like that. We need someone who's like 27, 28, who is a leader, got experience, but he's also a good football player as well. I don't want someone who's 36, 37. You know, not only have they passed their best, there's got a good chance that they'll start getting injured because, you know, these older players, the body can't cope with the modern day football. So, yeah, it doesn't look great. And I have to say, I've not been impressed with any of the tries that I've had so far. I don't know what you think. King goes to the full screen. Yeah, I thought I'd go full screen just for you, Lee. Danny, looked kind of positive a couple of weeks ago, and then the signs just stopped. Expected a steady stream of signs now. Unfortunately, it seems we'll be panicking to get signings in close to the start of the season. And yeah, you're right, Danny. When we had that kind of 3 or 4 days that we did make quite a few signings, I can remember thinking the same as yourself. Wow, that's it now. We're starting with the signings. We've got 4 in. We'll get another 4 next week. That'll be 8. We'll get another 4 week after, and then we're almost done. But, you know, a week and a half later, then we have to sign no one else. So, yeah, I do agree completely. As I said, I'm hoping we're not going to panic by signings. Because the thing with Stephen McLaren is, and again, everyone will have their opinion of Stephen McLaren, but the way he speaks and the way he is, I think he's a very patient man. And because of that, I think that he'll have got players on his radar who, as I said already, they might not be interested currently because they think that they can get a club in a higher league. But I think some of these players won't get that club that they're after, and they'll end up signing for Rotherham. So I do think there is that, but I think you're right as well that you know, there's an element of Rotherham are struggling to get players in for one reason or the other, and there is a case of, let's say we get 5 good players in, we've still got another 5 that we need. So you could have a case of we sign 5 good players and 5 players that are classed as panic buys. So I do take your point, Danny, and I think you're right. And you have to say, what is frustrating as well is that we obviously sold over 5,000 season tickets. I don't know if that's good or not, actually. I don't know if that's a good thing. Is that a good number or not? I don't really know. What I would say is it could have been a lot worse than that. Like, I was half expecting 4,000 to sold. So the fact we've got above 5,000, then, you normally get 1,000 on the gate. So you're probably looking at an average of 6.5K, which is not great because it's dropped from, I think, 8.5. So you've dropped 2,000, but it could have been a lot worse. And I was half expected to feel a lot worse, to be honest. Let's say to ourselves, Sheffield are going to tear us apart. Yeah. Well, to be fair, Rome they might do, but they did tear us apart last season. The friendlies don't make that much of a difference, I don't think. And well, I suppose you could argue Rome that they tear us apart last season and we ended up going down. And yeah, that feels like it's a worry. I think last season, as I said, I said this all the way through last season. I genuinely believe that Matt Hamshaw had a system in mind, had a style of play, used it in the first couple of friendlies. I think Rotherham beat Bromley when they were abroad in Portugal. They obviously beat Harrogate at Harrogate 3-0, and it was quite dominant, really. And then they obviously lost to Sheffield United. And then they lost to Accrington as well. And obviously they got hammered at Accrington. So I think those 2 performances, I can't know which way around it with, but those 2 performances, I think is what made Hamshaw change his mind on tactics. And I think that's why we ended up going down. I think sometimes if you've got a clear way of playing and you stick to that way, everyone knows what they're doing. But I just think that last season, Hamshaw did change at the last minute, and I think it confused the players. And I think all through the season, the players didn't really know what their role was and what they were meant to be doing. They couldn't understand that they were playing at right back, centre back, whatever it might be, but they couldn't understand what the style of play was. And it got to a stage where we just cleared the wall forward into no man's land a lot of the time. So yeah, I guess they could tear us apart. I'm hoping that they play some youngsters, to be honest with you, Realm off, and because if they play some youngsters, they might not dominate the game as much. Kingbush, I think we are going to struggle if we don't bring in 10, 13 players. Yeah, Lee, I agree, and I think that's what we've kind of spoke about so far on the podcast. We need a minimum of 10 players, but like you said, Lee, it's not just 10 players, it's 10 first team players. I think that's the worry. I think if we needed like 5 or 6 squad players, I think a lot of fans would be relatively happy where we were. 5 or 6 squad players needed. We've not got a loan in yet, so you can bring in up to 5 loans. So there is that as well. But yeah, to have to bring in 10 first team players is concerning. And we've literally only got, let me just check. We've literally got 3 weeks. Well, 3 weeks on last Saturday just gone to the league game, and then 4 weeks to the first game of the season. So yeah, it is worrying. The chairman needs to keel over. It's the only way out. And I know that a lot of fans watching this or reading that would probably think that's very harsh, but I've actually said it for a long time. Like it's almost like that the manager, sorry, not the manager, the chairman. It's almost like if the chairman was kind of struggling with something, like his business, for example, was struggling, it's almost like he's dragging Rotherham United down with him. And I, because of what he said, I mean, the fact that he came out and said in one of his interviews that he didn't even realise there were any issues with the fans. 2 things that come out of that. One is, how can you not tell that there's issues with the fans? Like, that is ridiculous. A lot of people at the games too, he might not read social media, and I don't blame him if he doesn't. He's obviously an old guy. All the old generation probably don't use technology as much, but that's not the point. You get someone in, you employ someone at the football club who reads social media. I'm not saying that's their only job, but it is the club's job to keep up with social media and read what the fans are saying, and then that gets relayed to the chairman. Now, is the chairman right and the club's not relaying it to him? I don't know. You know, I've said for a longest time that it's not just the players, it's not just the manager that we need to change. I believe we need a clear out from top to bottom. Players, staff, people who work in shop, people who work in the kitchens, people who are coaches, people who do who clean the stadium, stewards. I honestly, I know that sounds really harsh and mental, but I genuinely believe that we do need a clean sweep. If Tony Stewart doesn't know that there's issues at the football club, then it's because someone at the club's not informing him of what's happened. And the second thing is as well, so obviously I said there were two things. The first obviously being that it's ridiculous that the chairman doesn't know. The second thing is I think the fans are to blame for this as well, because maybe it's only a percentage of Rotherham fans that are unhappy with the situation. Now, I don't know what percent it could be. We could be at 10%, we could be at 20%, but I do get the impression that if you go back 3 or 4 years, it was only 10% of the fans that were unhappy with the chairman. Then I remember listening to Radio Sheffield, I used to listen to Radio Sheffield quite a lot at the time, when Rotherham was successful, that is. And even though Rotherham were being successful, I remember the seasons we got relegated under Paul Warren, we were still getting Rotherham fans ringing up and saying, this is not good enough, we need to spend a bit of money in order to be able to compete at the championship level. And Rob Staten, who is from Rotherham as well, kind of quashed what the fans were saying and basically said that, you know, we should be thankful for what we've got. The fact that we've got a chairman who saved us. We're a football club, we were in the championship at the time. And I think this is where Rob's probably got it wrong for me. And I would love, you know, I'm tempted to do this. I might actually give Radio Sheffield a call actually at some point when Rob's on and just say, look, Rob, this is what Rotherham fans were saying to you 4 or 5 years ago when they were in the championship and they were going down for the third time with Paul Warren, and you weren't listening. And this is what we're worried about. I think a lot of fans were saying that as soon as Paul Warren left, it would start going down, and it has done, because it was unsustainable. And it does, you've got to say as well, fair play to Warren, really, because we'd always get promoted from League One with Paul Warren in charge, no questions about it. And we were always quite close in the championship. So whereas if we were adrift, we're only adrift that last season, which obviously was a season of hell really for us, with Taylor being the manager, and then no manager coming in for like 6-week period, and then it was Liam Richardson. So yeah, I do think that this has been coming for a long time. And unfortunately, what he's saying there, I actually think's right. I don't know if he's 80 plus, Tony Stewart, but the only way I think he is going to move on is if he does, or you know, if he can't physically current in the role. It doesn't seem like he's going to go anywhere, and if we're not careful, we could end up in the conference, which is what worries me a little bit. It's starting to look desperate. Yes, Sam, I agree. It is looking very, very desperate, and I think that's the issue. And I'm just hoping that the delayed response to us getting transfers in isn't going to come and bite us back in the neck. Realm off, I'd like us to get in the modern football. I'd like us to get in modern football and football world. If we are waiting for non-memory, then why don't we like what I'm saying? Yeah, and Realm off, I agree. If that is the case, then why doesn't Steve McLaren come out and say that? I mean, look, I think that if he did come out and say that, the football club would get some slating. So there probably is a reason why Steve McLaren hasn't said that, to be fair, because it doesn't sound good, does it? You know, it's almost like we have to sell a player for high 6 figures, stroke 7 figures sum every year in order to stay afloat. And I think what frustrates me about that is Rotherham United we've always been told that we'll be spending within our means. So if we are spending within our means, then why do we need to sell a player like this to bring players in? We've never, under Tony Stewart, kind of gone over budget. It's one thing that I actually hate. And, you know, a lot of fans can sit there and say, look, if you go over budget, look at what happened to Sheffield Wednesday last year. Look what happened to Berry. Look what happened to this side, that side. And my answer to that would be, you're right about Sheffield Wednesday. Look at Sheffield Wednesday now. They're probably going to end up near top for League One. as soon as they come out of it, they just start bringing in all big players. I did a video on it on Sheffield Wednesday, and a lot of people said that they've not spent money. Spending money doesn't necessarily mean you give a football club a fee. It can mean that you're spending a lot on wages. Now, Barry Bannon, I'm telling you now, Barry Bannon won't be on £3,000 a week at Sheffield Wednesday. He'll be on 15 grand a week, 20 grand a week, whatever it might be. Yes, I know there's like a budget restraint, but as we kind of come to the last podcast, there are ways to get around the budget. If you want to sign a 15 grand contract, a 50 grand a week contract, but you're allowed to pay 10, that 5 grand will be made up with appearance fees or with something else. If you walk into trading tomorrow, you get 500 quid or something like that. So yeah, there are ways around it. Samuel, fetching someone like Stephen Fine should have been fetching years ago. Yeah, I agree, Sam. It should have been fetching years ago. One thing you can say about Rotherham is that they've probably got the best director of football or head of football, for instance, whatever it is the job's called in League Two, and probably outside of the Championship. I think there are some high standard Championship director of football, so I'm not going to say it's as big as them, but definitely outside League One, outside the Championship, Stephen McLaren's one of the biggest names out there. We need another 12 as non-main Hall are going, yep, that's right. I'll just quickly talk on non-main Hall. So I don't think it's been confirmed by anyone yet, but Nombe and Hall are definitely going to leave the football club. The fact that they've not played 1 minute of any friendlies, despite being fit, would tell you that there is probably a big chance that these two guys will be gone. Obviously, Nombe, I'm not too fussed about Nombe. I think he'd almost given up the ghost last season for Rotherham, and I don't think we needed one like that. And if you can get close to £1 million for, I think that's good business. Denzel, I'm a bit gutted actually, because I think Denzel could have turned his Rotherham career around. He obviously had a great start at Rotherham, but then he struggled to stay fit and struggled to stick with the performances after that. But I feel that if Rotherham were winning more games this year, I think you'd find that Denzel Hall's one of the players who suddenly fit all the time, and I think he'd have just turned it around. So I'm a bit sad that he's going, but again, it's more money for Rotherham, hopefully to reinvest. And we all know that it doesn't matter if we sell these guys, the money's just going to go into Tony Stewart's pocket, which is what's concerning me. Realmoff, I'm not seeing any benefit from McLaren yet. Nothing's changed. Yeah, I agree, Realmoff. I don't think I see anything as of yet. One thing I would say is he's only been officially at the club for about 2 months, I think it is. Maybe even 8 weeks, actually. Less than 2 months, I'm not sure. But I think he deserves a little bit of patience, personally. If we went and signed Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi and, I don't know, Kobe Mainu tomorrow, obviously you'd change your mind on that. I know that's not happened, by the way, but if we did say that, if that had happened, or let's say we signed, as an example, Paul Mullin tomorrow, then that would be a Stephen McLaren signing, and you'd probably think, fair enough, that's a good signing. So I think that McLaren deserves at least until the end of the window, which obviously is the end of August, to see what he does do, what he brings in. Realmoff, only fix I can make is he brings a lot of Man U youth and uses his contract. Yeah, I agree, Realmoff, you probably will get a lot of them, but to be honest with you, Man United's got one of the best youth facilities in the world. And if I could choose a football club in England where we have like some sort of link with and we get a lot of their players, it would be Man United, because generally speaking, Man United players do tend to go on and do well. Even if it's not Man United, as a good example, it's just like Daniel Nardiello. Daniel Nardiello came from Man United youth ranks, never really played a first team game, but he ended up being like a League One / Championship striker. And for Rotherham, they were excellent, in my opinion, in League Two and then in League One as well. So, generally speaking, if you're good enough to get in Man United youth squad, then you're probably going to be a good player. So I actually don't mind that, to be honest. Danny, suppose we could have 10 signs lined up, maybe just waiting for the funds from non-bit in the bank. Yeah, that's true, Danny. We could have that. I'd be surprised if there were no rumours, though. Like, obviously, at the minute, there are no rumours. And if there are 10 sides or even just 2 or 3 sides lined up, I would have thought there'd be some sort of rumour flying around. I mean, if not, then you've got to trade to the football club to keep it hush, I guess. But yeah, you could be right, Danny. We'll have to see. Watch it. Number you leave tomorrow, and then maybe bring in 5, 6, 7 players on Wednesday. Let's see. Happy birthday, Bushy. Happy birthday, Bush. Have a good one. So yeah, for all of you who don't know, it's Mr. Lee Rush's birthday today. And look, we've got 600 people watching, which is exceptional. So I really appreciate it. Being on my own, I thought we won't get many people watching, but we have got close to 600. So I really do appreciate you guys who are watching the podcast. And if you have got any comments, as I said, please keep going. Please keep putting them in, and I will read every comment out. If it means I'm here till 10 o'clock at night, I'll stay and make sure I read every comment out. Okay. John Fellows, Tony needs to go ASAP, but I think the supporters' energy at the moment needs to be channeled into what they do team. Yeah, John, and I agree completely with that statement. I think Tony, look, end of the day, Tony Stewart has been at the club for about 16, 17 years, and it's just coming to a natural end. It is a shame for him that it's coming to an end when Rotherham are right back where he found him. It's a shame that he didn't kind of leave the football club. So when Rotherham stayed in the Championship under Matt Taylor, I think that would have been a great time for him to try and move on. Personally, because he'd left Rotherham a Championship-based side, with the fact that they had the promotion the year before, and then they had a year of stabilisation in the Championship. So he should have left then. For me, it's almost like they've got worse and worse every year, and he probably feels like he can't leave because he wants to leave him in a better place at the minute. He's going to end up leaving him in a worse place if he's not careful. So yeah, I do agree. And yeah, your last part of that sentence, I said this on one of the podcasts we've done over the summer period. We've always had a divide at Rotherham United. Well, I say always. In the last, I'd say 10, 15 years, if not longer, actually, probably when Ronnie Moore came back to the football club, which would have been around 2008, around that time, 2008, 2009. We've always had a divide since then, so that's like nearly 20 years actually. Because obviously we're in 26 now, so we need the 50% on this side, 50% on that side. We need them to come together to support one team. I definitely agree with that. The thing with Alex Bruce is no one knows how good this match is going to be. It's the perfect time for Rotherham United to all get behind the squad and try and get this team promoted. Because let's face it, I know there's people out there, and I'm included, that there's a risk that Rotherham could be near the bottom next year. The fact that we've not re-signed anyone and we needed 15 players and we're only 3-4 weeks away from the season is very concerning. But we should, as this football club, we should be aiming for first place, never mind top 3. Never mind top 7, never mind top 3. We should be aiming for first place, really. I can't think of a club, really, who have been in the Championship in the last 10 years in League 2. I don't think there's been one, and we've been in the Championship about, 4 times in the last 10 years, something like that. So, yeah, we definitely need to have ambition. We need to be ambitious and have and make sure we have achievement. Make sure we're aiming, for that top 3 finish. Jay, Ethan Williams out of wing would be realistic. Can't see happening. Ethan Williams, is that a youngster then? Is it, Jake? I assume you're not on about the Brandon Williams, are you? I don't actually know much about Ethan Williams, but if he's a Man United youngster who's a winger, then yeah, as per one of the other guys who said about having Man U players in, that is and someone who could come now. So yeah, I'm just looking at Lee actually. I'm going to send Lee. Bear with us a minute because Lee says he will come on, so I'm going to send him the link. So just give us 2 seconds, will you? And hopefully we can get Lee on, who is in the car. Hopefully he's not going to be holding his phone to his ear while he's driving. So let's see if I can just forward this to Lee and we'll see if he comes in. There we go. Right. So any minute now, Lee could come in. Okay. Right. Let's carry on with your comments. What did the young centre back look like? I don't know, Roma, so I don't know which one you mean. I didn't go on Saturday, so I can't really say anything about Saturday. Against Emley, no one really stood out. The only issue I had, as I mentioned, was the goalkeeper. The fact that Emley scored from about 50 yards out. That was the only thing I really remember from that game. So yeah, I don't know which one you mean. I mean, I actually, Lee's here now, so I'm not even 2 minutes. I actually rate Harrison Duncan, and I hope that he gets given a chance next year. So let's leave it that. Now Lee has said here that he's sent me the link, and I'll come on. So Lee is here and waiting. So I'm gonna. Oh, he's gone again. Lee has gone again, so I can't add him at the minute. Let's see if he rejoins. Romoff. It's weird how we met. Yeah, fucked off Furlong, and then he's got to Rotherham. Is that right, Romoff? I didn't even know that. And that if that is the case, that's incredible. Because, well, to be fair, maybe we've not messed. Maybe we've not set him around. Maybe he's just left because he's been given a contract from Rotherham. I don't know. But Lee's here. He's in the car. It's his birthday, so happy birthday, Lee. And welcome. What would you like to say, Lee? Because I could tell you're desperate to come on.
Yeah, just want to say well done, Bez. Obviously, it's a difficult gig doing it on your own. Obviously, I've just been out for some food and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I'm literally fuming. I mean, I read an article today that Alex Bruce has said basically is waiting for... is basically waiting for... can you hear me, Bez?
Yeah, can hear you.
It's basically... I can't... Can you see? Yeah, can you see me now?
You still see me, yeah.
So it's basically waiting on the money from Nombe coming through. He's basically said that he's waiting for money for Nombe, which is an absolute disgrace. That means Tony Stewart has lied because he said the season ticket money would get you a better striker. We currently need a minimum of 12 first-team players, yeah? It is utter disgusting what is going on at this football club. Not just from the fact that we need 12 first-team players. We're sort of 20-odd days away from the season starting, which is an utter joke. And we're just losing players left, right and centre. So, obviously, it is crazy. I just don't know what's going on. The cladding's not being cleaned at the stadium. I mean, what's happening with the bar? We were promised that for the start of the season. Will that be open? There's nothing really coming out at the football club. And I can see Steve McLaren walking very shortly because this is getting to a point now where the old man has got to sell up and get out, because I do believe that he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. I think he's that senile and deluded. He thinks he's doing nothing wrong. And I don't think anybody at the club is brave enough to tell him, look, Tony, the fans aren't happy. And then you get the happy clappers at the stadium. They're not going to tell him, are they? They still thank him for saving the club. We've got idiots that still believe, oh, he saved our football club, we've got to keep him, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. It's utter nonsense. I've looked today, we're the 4th favourites to get relegated next season. The 4th favourites. We've been in the Championship. We should not be at this level. We should be walking it. We should be signing the creme de la creme of League Two. Yeah? We're the Manchester United of League Two. Bear no bones about it. There's not one bigger club in League Two than us. Yeah? We should be up there challenging for these top signings. We're losing players to Salford. Let that sink in. Salford, they're playing a Tin Pot Stadium and they're going to be owned by Gary Neville, the little woke monkey from Manchester. Yeah? It is a joke. I don't know where the optimism is coming from Rotherham fans.
Oh.
Can you see, mate?
We can't see you. We can see you now. Yeah.
Sorry, signal dropping out. Yeah, I just don't get it. And obviously, I'm leaving it to the very last minute to give my prediction for the season. But if the season were to kick off tomorrow, I'm telling you, we're getting relegated. That's how bad this squad is currently. Is not good enough. You've seen that already in the pre-season friendlies. The signings are not good enough. Yeah, Jealous, the other guy from Burton. For me, the squad players, they shouldn't be nowhere near the first team. If they're starting, I'm really worried because I just thought they were going to be fill-in squad players for me. We need to be signing top-end League Two players stroke going to be ready for League One. If that's what you would do. When we was in the League Two last time, we were signing players like Daniel Nardiello, players that have played in the Championship, players that have walked through League One and League Two. And that's why we did walk through League One and League Two, because of the players we signed in League Two. Because this is the best place to sign players in League Two, because nobody should be able to compete with us for the top end players at this level. Nobody. Yeah. You're getting a promotion on your CV. But at the end of the day, the old man's quit, and he's give up. He's give up on the club. He don't want to put any money in. And it's basically, we're just going to be scrapping around for freebies and players on. I mean, David Besley on trial. What is that about? It's nonsense. It's not good enough. Brandon Williams, I think, will be a great signing if we get that over the line. I don't think we can even announce that until Nombe is sold. That's how bad the budget is this season. So it doesn't matter as long as you get... it doesn't matter if you've got Steve McLaren. If he hasn't got the budget to do it, it's irrelevant. And the thing is relying on people that have failed us. We've still got Ross Burberry in there, injuring as players. I believe Tom Lees, who's on trial, got injured with an hamstring. It's embarrassing. So, yeah, for me, it's going to be a long, tough season.
And there you go. Lee, do you want to stay on for it, or are you going to go?
I don't mind, mate. I can stay on for a bit if you want. I think Pete wanted to come on as well, mate. If you put it in the chat, he put it in the chat.
Well, I'll put it in the chat now. You just tell me. I mean, this is just a recommend. We've got Romoff who says that if I'd have a 36-year-old centre back at the club, if it's someone like Sonny Bradley or someone like that, would you sign that sort of player? You answer that, and I'll put Pete in.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take Sonny Bradley. I said it last season when I think it was Lincoln that signed him. That should have been a player we were all over. And I would probably sign Tom Lees if he can keep fit. But we need to sign them. We need them now. The club is that scrimping and scraping that we haven't even had a pre-season tour this season. How embarrassing is that with no pre-season tour? So the players can actually gel, get to know each other. You take them away, you take them out of the environment. We haven't even done that. That's how tight we are this season. And the one man to blame is Tony Stewart. He needs to sell up and get out. You can see that there's problems. Phil Smith come in as an advisory. Obviously, he didn't take no notice and he's sodded off. And I see Steve McLaren doing the same. Alex Bruce, I mean, do we know enough about him? He's saying the same things that Matt Amshaw said in pre-season. You look at Matt Amshaw. In fact, I'm going to collate a video tomorrow of Matt Amshaw in pre-season saying, yeah, we need to be patient in the transfer market and we'll only sign players if they're fit. Only broke teams say that, yeah? The big teams don't mess about. They don't hang about. They go for the top targets and they get them early. Yeah, that's what proper teams do. We're not doing that. Alex Bruce is saying the same things that Matt Amshaw said. Oh, we're looking for the right player. We're looking for this. No, we're not. We're looking in the bargain basements. We've got no money. The chairman's has dropped his budget, and that's it. That's where we're at, and it's a sorry situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I do agree a lot with what Lee's saying, and I think at the minute, the only positive really that I think Rotherham fans do see is the fact that we have got
Let this one go, and then once that one's gone, you're all good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so at least get it all off that fleece there. That's fun, isn't it? What happened there, Lee? You look like you get it all off that fleece there.
I think there's some accident here, so.
All right, okay.
I'm getting told off by the police, mate. I'm getting arrested again. It's like Rotherham United all over. I'm going to get a police ban, stadium ban.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I think one of there's only one positive at the minute what fans see in Rotherham, and that is Stephen McLaren. I think if Stephen McLaren were to leave it next, I don't know, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I think you could find that a lot of Rotherham fans are unhappy, and that could be the time then to maybe get some sort of action in against the football club, whether it be a protest or whether it be throwing balls onto pitch it again. I don't know. But if that does happen, I can see bad things happening. Right, we're back to the comments. Roma, if we make a marquee signing, I'd rather it be that centre-back at Romney rather than a striker. Interesting. So, Roma, if we sign a marquee signing, I'd rather it be a centre-back as opposed to a striker. I think, Roma, we obviously need more than one marquee signing. We probably need a marquee signing for each kind of position on the pitch. So you always talk about your spine, and we've not really got a spine at the minute. If we had at least a good spine, then you can build around it. So for me, the most important thing that I've seen now and the first game of the season is we do bring in 3 players that can cover that spine, and the 3 players who are good enough to win promotion from this league is what I'd say. Right, King Bush, yeah, I've sent you a link. Romov, we sold about 6,000 last season and spent okay, even though a lot didn't work out. Is that so? We sold 6,000, so we're only down 1,000. Is that what you see it as, Lee? So we're only 1,000 fans who have bought season tickets less this season than last season. Does that feel right to you?
Yeah, that's it. The fans have actually backed Tony Stewart. We've lost 1,000 fans, which, in the grand scheme of things, of where the club's been run and how it's been, everything's been a shambles. The fans have still turned out and paying the highest League Two prices, and they've been absolutely mugged off. We're losing transfer battles to Salford. We're losing players to Salford. It is just unbelievable. And there's only one man to blame. There's nobody else to blame. This is going to go, if there isn't some 10 signings, a top quality League Two standard, then this will go very bad very quickly. It will turn toxic, because I think we're going to have a bad start, because I think we've got a difficult start to the season. Yeah. And there's 2 derbies in there as well at the very start. If we lose both them derbies, I
agree.
Tony Stewart's going to need to put his house up for sale. Let me tell you, his house will need to go up for sale because people are just not going to put up with it anymore. You'll still get your odd happy clappers. I'm just happy to have a football team. I'm sorry, I support a football team for it to win. Yeah, I don't expect it to win every week, but I expect us in League Two to win most weeks. You know, we're not playing in the Championship anymore.
Yeah, those fans as well, like who say, "I'm just happy to support a team who's playing or whatever." They're better going to watch non-league, because that's what that's all about. Like non-league level, you generally don't get teams who go up and down. A lot of teams tend to stay in the same level, and I think that's what these fans need. They need to go and watch Maltby or Parkgate. Just like you said, Lee, I think we can't have. If we have that mentality, this football club are going to get worse and worse and worse. You can't have that mentality. Right, I've got a big message.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Like Sheffield Wednesday, they wouldn't put up with this, what we're putting up with. No other football club would. At some stage, you've got to say, I love my football club enough to say, enough is enough. I can't watch it fall any further than it is. And honestly, people are thinking we're too big and we're too good to go down from League Two. People said that about League One, and we went down. Remember? We'll not go down. I said, I'm telling you now, if we don't get rid of Matt, I'm sure we'll go down. They got rid of him too late and we went down. And the same will happen again here. I tell you, as things stand, if this squad was to start the league next week, yeah, I'm predicting we get relegated currently.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it to the week of the season because obviously I think other players will come in. But are any players going to come in better than the two are going out?
I don't know. But that's
I don't think we're bringing in anyone better than Sam Nombe, and I don't think we're bringing in anyone better than Hall. So we're letting two of his best players go and replacing them with, I don't know. God only knows. We will see. We can't comment because we haven't got him yet. But I'm worried now. Really, really worried. And yeah, people will say toxic terrace talk, whatever they want to say. Listen, I care about my football club. If you don't, if you're happy to watch us stagnate and go in and just accept, oh, we might finish mid-table in League Two. I'm not accepting mid-table in League Two, let me tell you. I will be going bonkers if we're mid-table in League Two. So watch out for that because I will be breaking the internet.
Right, so we've got a message from Russ here. So I'll tell you what I want to happen, Des, is for this joke and circus of a football club to stop insulting us fans. TS insulted us enough now. How much more are we going to put up with it? Players we're wanting and looking at in their mid-30s ain't what we want. It's okay having players on the radar, but they have to be the right ones and with a good young age and not just anybody. And not anybody just to get signings in. We have to approach this season right because the unthinkable could really happen whatever league we're in. Wow. So there you go. And to be fair to Russ has kind of summed up what we just said there. Yeah. So it's a great message, Russ, and I agree completely. And obviously Lee agrees with you as well because that's what Lee's just said himself, to be fair. Romoff, as far as Sheffield United, we thought we would be doing well and we got battered, but we moved on. This season, we got desperate results and positivity. The 5-0 battering then against them, and then a game against Derby. Yeah, so Romoff talking about the friendlies really and about the fact that he's worried that we could get hammered against Sheffield and the Derby. And when we got hammered last season, it obviously impacted the season. We ended up being relegated. And I think he's worried about the same this season. Do you ever look, Lee, at the friendlies and do you ever look into the friendlies as a guide or not really? All right, I think Lee's gone. He'll come back in a minute.
Sorry. Signal keeps dipping out. Sorry, mate. I've obviously been in the car, but go on. What was the question?
I just said, do you ever look at friendly games, results, and player performances as anything to go by, or just ignore them?
It's not always. No, I don't really look at the results, but I do kind of look at the performances. I knew when we played Sheffield United, that team were going to get splattered in League One. It wasn't about the result, but more the performances and the fact that we're playing rubbing rags and we're struggling to beat them suggests that team that we currently have got is nowhere near good enough to compete at League Two. We need 12 first team signers. Let me sink this in. We're 25 days out till the season starts. We've had no proper pre-season. We've had no pre-season tour. We've played absolute crap teams in pre-season. And we need to sign 12, let me repeat, 12 first-team players within 25, 24 days. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, okay. Ross, our chairman is crippling us simple, and McLaren's friends ain't going to kid me on that. Yeah, that's fair enough, Ross. That's from what I said about McLaren being one of the positive things about Rotherham. So, yeah, that's fair enough for us. Someone's not informing him. It's Dougie Bez. All right, okay. So you're talking about Douglas. Yeah, I'm still not a big fan of Douglas, to go to you, Ronoff. Obviously, I'm not going to it again, but I just think he might be good enough for the squad, but he's definitely not first team. This is where I do agree with Lee, where when we make these next 10 sides, they do have to be first teamers. Staten is full of rubbish. His whole argument was, how can you be successful when you keep sacking managers? Soon as his media privileges get revoked, then he started having got the club in small way. Yeah, you're right. He did say that. And I disagree with what he said as well about sacking managers, because I'm not so much for sacking manager after one game, but if we'd have sacked Amshaw earlier and then appointed a manager, I think we'd have stopped up, personally.
Yeah, I mean, let's stop talking about that Muppet, Rob Staten. So he blocked me, he banned me, made false allegations that I was a football hooligan, this, that, and the other, that I'm a nasty person, I'm this, that, and the other, and banned me from Radio Sheffield, right? All because I was telling him in the Championship, we are heading for catastrophic problems here with this leadership in charge, this underspending, and exactly what I've said happened. Now he's jumping on the bandwagon, the little weapon. Yeah, he's an absolute spunk bubble, that bloke is. Yeah, and if I ever see him in Sheffield, he'll get the biggest slap across his face with a wet fish he'll ever warrant. Yeah, because he is an absolute lanky streak of piss.
There you go. What's happened to that bloke who came on board last season? I'm not sure which one you mean, Gary. If you mean Tom, then yeah, he's left the podcast. He just left himself. Don't know why, but he's left. So yeah, we'll not be coming back. Tom Bedfern, I think the local media have turned on the club. They have been very critical lately. I think Paul Davies got given a warning for negative articles. Have you heard about that, Lee? That's what Tom Bedford says.
Yeah. I mean, I do know that that's happened. Yeah, and yeah, it's because they don't like being challenged. Why do you think this podcast was banned from supporting Rotherham Hospital and sponsoring a player? Yeah. Why do you think I'm banned? Is because I dare to criticise the football club, because it is run like an utter shambles. Paul Douglas is so far out of depth, it is untrue. He should have been sacked when in the Ken Booth days, when they put us through all them administrations. That was under Paul Douglas. The guy is a cheap second-hand car salesman, nothing more. And he's another weapon that I want to see very shortly.
Yeah. Belmoff, I'd be happy with McLaren as long as we get some great Man U loans, shows he's got some sway. Yeah, I think we agree with that. And I think we will get, whether they're any good, I think we will get some loans from Man United. Forgot about Nordiello, yeah. Russ says, I'm one disgruntled Miller. Romoff, don't worry about the comments. I can chat rubbish forever. No, you're fine, Romoff. You keep going, that's fine. Romoff, it's daft, but when I read the rumour of Sibley coming back, I thought, come on, lads, nailed on League One top and played on to League Two. It's going to be good. And then it fizzled out. And to be fair, Sibley would have been a good signing, Lee, I think, at this level.
I think Sibley is still, from what I've been told, is still hoping to sign for Rotherham United, but we're waiting on the sale of Sam Nombe. I think when Sam Nombe is signed, you will see a fluster of signings, because I don't think they're going to get signed off until Sam Nombe is sold for sure, and possibly Hall. But I think we have got irons in the fire that would be good signings, but it's whether these players decide, do I wait this close to the season or do I get fixed up? Bruce is hopeful these players are going to wait and hang on, but some of them won't, and we'll lose some of them because we're fannying about with, you're going to sell Sam Nombe, so put the money in first and then replace that money once you've sold him. We shouldn't be waiting on signings. If Bruce wants these players, he needs to go and get them. But again, the old man with the tight purse strings, I bet he books his cruises a lot quicker than he does our signings, that's for sure. Absolute weapon of a bloke.
I like that, that's true. So just a quick question, then, Lee. Do you think that, let's take Sam Nombe leaves on Wednesday this week, right? Do you think Rotherham will sign like 5 players on Thursday?
I'm not saying 5, but I think they'll sign 2 or 3 on the day of that signing going through, because then obviously Karen will sign off the wages. But we was promised, if we backed them with season tickets, we would get a better striker. We would get this week that. It's all been lies, mate. The old boy has lied to the fans, and people are more angry at me telling the truth than actually Tony Stewart ripping them off, which I just find absolutely insane. But I'll take the rap for some of the Rotherham fans who think that I'm the problem, because I dare to call out poor stewardship of the football club. But what I will say is, when we were in the Championship, I told you all we were heading one way, and that was to League Two. Not League One, League Two. Because Tony Stewart has not got the money or the effort anymore to take us anywhere other than down.
Okay. R.I.P. Keegan. Yeah, R.I.P. Mr. Kevin Keegan. As I mentioned in the start of the show. Gary, the bloke that was back in Hampshire, I don't know what your first comment was, Gary, now. What happened to the bloke? The bloke that, you're on about Adam. Yeah. Now, Adam left ages ago, Gary, and he's not come back since. He's not been with us for at least probably 6 months, to be honest with you, Gary. Yeah, he's got some.
It was last.
Yeah.
It was last.
Yeah, we can't.
It was. He kept dropping his pants in public.
Yeah, there you go. We didn't get all that, Lee, but we got the last bit, which were dropping his pants in public. So I think that kind of answers where he's gone. Romoff, the young centre back was Joe Free or something like that. Again, I don't know who that is. Romoff, Joe Free. I mean, is it a trialist centre back or is it a Rotherham youth player? Danny says happy birthday, Bushy. David Clarkson says you're doing a good job, boss. I think that's to me. So thanks, David. I appreciate that. Liam West, did we even replace the grounds person? No, Liam. To be fair, when I was going through every staff member, I purposely left him out because he actually does a good job. The only member of staff, the whole football club, that does a good job. But even when you go and get a drink at half time, they're standing there where there's a massive queue and it takes 15 minutes to get served. So, yeah, I'm not including the grounds person now. Speaking of which, how did our staff end up in Dubai, Man City and Derby, non-league? Here we go. Yeah, okay. Ben Woodcock, absolutely class screen tonight. Yeah, cheers, Ben. Thank you for that. Liam West, I went to Roundwood last week. The state of the fixtures, no chef, no full-time medical staff. It's absolute shambles. I don't know if you knew all that, Lee. Apparently no chef, no medical staff at the training ground. Did you know that?
Yeah, but obviously all the staff's not in place at the minute. This is what I mean. It's a shambles. We're 25 days away from the new season. Yeah. We've got half the staff missing, half the players missing. The cladding is still filthy. How are they going to get that done before the first game of the season? That were promised at a fans forum. A new bar, I'm expecting that to open on the first day. Will that happen? Probably not. Will we get these 12 first team players? Probably not. Will Steve McLaren still be here at the start of the season? I don't know, because surely he's going to be like Kenny Jackett was. He's going to be thinking, what the hell have I walked into here? I'm going to do one, because he's not under a fixed contract as well. So he was kind of doing it as a favour, bit like what Phil Smith was doing, and he's walked away. So it's just going to be back to square one. Tony Stewart doesn't want to sell the club. Tony Stewart doesn't want to put into the club. What is he still doing here? The only hope we can get is that, I don't want to wish ill health on anybody, but he just passes away and we can move forward as a football club, because he's going nowhere. He's hanging on to this club for dear life. Yeah. And let's be honest with you, he's a Sheffield Wednesday fan. He used to sponsor the Cop at Hillsborough. He's as bad as owner as Chansiri was for me. He's totally ruined his legacy. I don't even respect him for buying the club anymore, because he's totally destroyed this football club and everything it stands for. I do not recognise this football club. This football club has banned me from supporting my team for nothing other than speaking the truth on social media. That should send alarm bells to everybody. Even if you don't like me, yeah, you've got to say, oh my God, this ain't Russia. You know what I mean? The guy's getting banned from the football club for not agreeing with the football club and exposing the lies that they're telling the fans. And I've actually stuck up for the fans, but the fans have kicked me in the teeth and say, stand with Tony Stewart, who's a Sheffield Wednesday fan. That tells you what kind of fan base we've got. I'm not saying every supporter, but many supporters dislike me purely because I speak the truth about Tony Stewart and how he's running this football club into the ground. Now we're in League Two, there's more and more people on my side and they don't like it, but they still sooner poke stuff at me rather than say Tony Stewart is killing this football club.
Right. I'm going to finish off reading the comments because I need to get off soon. So, Russ, I'm off to Horbury FC in Wakefield Saturday to watch Fartgate. Yeah, that sounds good, Russ. Hope you have fun. I don't hate the Vassell signing, but for God's sake, no as other than the bench fan. Yeah, I actually don't want him at all, Realm off, to be honest with you. Not even. I think he's like 33 as well. He's not even young.
That Briggs, the signal's going to drop out.
Right. Cheers, Lee. Cheers for joining in. Right. See you later. Happy birthday.